It started with one powerful line from Peter Obi that spread quickly across the country. He said, "I'm sure I'll be on the ballot in 2027, and in 4 years, I can change the direction of Nigeria to a positive one." Those words alone changed the mood of the political space. People could feel that Obi wasn't just talking. He was serious. He was calm but confident. He looked ready to take back the stage. After months of silence, he finally spoke about his plans. He said Nigeria doesn't have to stay this way forever. He believed that leadership built on truth, hard work, and care for the people can still fix the nation. He didn't talk about money or power or influence. He talked about one thing: a working Nigeria. He said the dream of a better country can come alive again if the right people take charge. And that statement alone brought back hope to many who thought he had given up after 2023. For some, it felt like a reminder that true leadership doesn't fade with time or defeat. It grows stronger with purpose. Obi's words carried that same energy. He didn't sound like someone chasing headlines. He sounded like someone ready to rebuild trust. When he said he would be on the ballot, it wasn't about ambition alone. It was about duty. He said a nation cannot move forward if honest people keep stepping aside for corruption and incompetence. He said the problem of Nigeria is not that there are no good people, it's that the good ones often get tired of trying. Obi made it clear that he's not tired. He said his passion for Nigeria's progress remains strong. He spoke about the importance of planning, accountability, and using the nation's wealth wisely. He said no nation develops by wasting its resources while its people suffer in poverty. His tone was simple but firm. He explained that the first step to fixing Nigeria is to make leadership about service again. He said leaders must live the same way they want the people to live, with discipline, honesty, and compassion. He reminded everyone that leadership is not magic. It is about hard work and integrity. He said if a government cannot secure lives, create jobs, and give citizens hope, then that government has failed. People listened closely to his words because they sounded different from the usual political talk. He didn't make empty promises. He spoke with calm assurance, the kind that comes from experience. He said Nigerians are not asking for too much. They only want light, water, good schools, and security. He said these are basic things every government should provide, not favors to be begged for. He also mentioned that what breaks his heart most is seeing young people lose hope in their own country. He said the energy and talent in Nigeria can change the whole continent if only leaders would manage it well. He said he believes in the youth and still trusts that they can shape a better future if given the chance. Obi said he doesn't believe Nigeria is a hopeless case. He said the system is broken, but it can be repaired. He explained that the problem is not lack of ideas, but lack of sincerity. If the leaders truly want change, the people will follow. He shared how countries that once struggled have now become models of growth because they chose leaders who serve the people, not themselves. He said Nigeria can do the same if it decides to take honesty seriously. As he spoke, you could sense his determination. There was no bitterness in his tone, just conviction. He said 2027 is not just another election. It is another chance to reset the country's path. He said he will not stop pushing for a government that works for everyone, not just for a few. For him, politics is not a game. It is a responsibility to lift people out of suffering. He said no leader should be proud of leading a nation where people sleep hungry and live in fear. He said that is not leadership. That is failure. He promised that if given the chance, he would prove that governance can be clean, transparent, and effective. He said Nigerians deserve a government that listens, not one that ignores their pain. He ended that part of his speech with a quiet but strong note that a country cannot continue to make the same mistakes and expect different results. He said it is time to make a new turn, and for him that turn begins in 2027. That moment, simple as it sounded, carried the weight of a man still determined to fight for what he believes in. Peter Obi's words reminded many that hope is not lost yet, that even in the middle of disappointment, there can still be a new beginning if people choose truth over fear. And that was how his bold declaration became the talk of the nation once again. Peter Obi made it clear, he is not leaving the stage. He said he's coming back stronger, better, and more prepared. His voice carried calm strength, not pride. You could tell he wasn't speaking out of frustration or anger, but from belief. He said leadership is not about shouting or making empty speeches, it is about results. He said what Nigeria needs right now is not another loud voice, but a leader who can turn words into action. He explained that the country cannot continue to move in circles, and that 4 years of focused, honest governance can change the story completely. He said, "It doesn't take eternity to fix a nation. It only takes leadership that works with the people, not against them." Those words settled deeply. Obi believes that what Nigeria lacks is not resources or brains, but sincerity. He said there are enough bright minds in every state, but they are ignored because politics has turned into business. He said his goal in 2027 is to bring back leadership that respects competence and truth. He reminded Nigerians that when he governed Anambra State, he faced many challenges, but he chose transparency. He said he didn't borrow recklessly or waste public funds. He left savings, built schools, and made governance about accountability. He said that is the same kind of leadership he wants to bring to the federal level. One that values every kobo, one that treats every life as important. He said Nigeria can rise again if leaders stop stealing and start serving. He said the problem is not that things are hard, it is that people in power refuse to live by example. He gave a simple picture, that if those in government live simply, waste less, and plan well, the nation's economy will breathe again. He said, "In 4 years, I can show Nigerians what real governance looks like. I can show that a country can be rebuilt through hard work and honesty." Obi's tone was confident, but it came from clarity, not arrogance. He said the 2027 race is not about revenge, but about restoration. He said he is ready to face anyone at the polls because he is not afraid of fair competition. All he wants is a level playing field where every vote counts and the people's choice is respected. He explained that democracy fails when people lose faith in the system. That's why he wants to rebuild trust between the government and the governed. He said once people trust their leaders again, change will follow naturally. He talked about the pain of the average Nigerian. He said he understands the daily struggle of parents who can no longer afford school fees, or workers who earn so little but pay so much for basic things. He said his heart breaks when he sees graduates roaming the streets without jobs. He said Nigeria cannot move forward when its young people have no direction. He believes that creating jobs and supporting innovation should be the top priority of any serious government. He said a government that empowers the youth is building the future, but one that neglects them is destroying tomorrow. Obi also spoke about insecurity. He said no economy can grow where people live in fear. He said the key is to combine fairness with firmness, to treat every citizen as important, but also to ensure that no one is above the law. He said security starts with justice, and justice starts with truth. He reminded Nigerians that good leadership is not magic. It is about managing resources wisely, setting clear goals, and being accountable to the people. He said, "I'm not promising miracles. I'm promising discipline and direction." He said the reason many governments fail is because they make politics about themselves, not the people. He said he wants to prove that a government can exist without waste, lies, or endless excuses. Obi said he believes in a Nigeria where leaders live like servants, not kings. He said it is time for Nigerians to demand that standard again. He said he has no intention of giving up because he knows the country can still work if the right values return to leadership. As he spoke, his words didn't sound like campaign slogans. They sounded like the reflections of a man who has seen both success and struggle, but still believes that change is possible. He said the 2027 election is not just another contest. It is a decision about the nation's soul, whether to continue with broken promises or to start again with honesty and hope. He said if Nigerians can unite around truth, then victory will not belong to one person, but to the whole country. He ended with a line that summed it all up. "My confidence comes from faith, faith in God, and faith in the Nigerian people. We can still fix this country together." His calm, steady tone left an impression that went beyond politics. It felt like a reminder that the fight for a better Nigeria is not over. Peter Obi made it clear that he is ready to stand again, not just as a candidate, but as a symbol of what is still possible if leadership returns to honesty and service. In that same calm and confident tone, Peter Obi decided to touch a topic many politicians avoid: the case of Nnamdi Kanu. He didn't speak like someone trying to make headlines. He spoke like a man who has seen how misunderstanding and pride can tear a nation apart. He said something that immediately caught everyone's attention. There was no need to arrest Nnamdi Kanu initially. Dialogue could have solved it, he said. Those words carried weight, not just because of who said them, but because of the truth behind them. For Obi, the issue of Nnamdi Kanu and the wider agitation in the Southeast is not about politics, but about justice, fairness, and communication. He said every strong country in the world has faced moments of disagreement, but wise nations solve their problems through dialogue, not force. He said when people are angry, you listen to them, not silence them. He explained that every agitation comes from a reason. Some people feel neglected, some feel unheard, and some feel pushed aside. He said leadership should be about understanding those feelings and finding peaceful solutions. He said when you use power to suppress, it might look calm for a while, but the pain remains. True peace, he said, comes only when justice is served. Peter Obi made it clear that he does not support violence or division, but he believes Nigeria must start handling conflicts with maturity. He said if he were in charge, he would have handled Nnamdi Kanu's issue differently, through open dialogue, fairness, and respect for human rights. He said, when people say they are unhappy with the system, the first duty of a leader is to listen. You cannot arrest frustration, you solve it. Those words hit hard because they spoke directly to the root of Nigeria's leadership problem: a lack of listening. Obi said a country that listens grows stronger, but a country that ignores its people falls apart from within. He explained that the constant tension in the Southeast is not a problem that arrests can solve. It needs genuine engagement, real talks, real action, and real healing. He said he has always believed in a united Nigeria, but unity cannot be forced. It must be built on fairness, equality, and inclusion. He said many of the crises we see today are not natural. They are created by leadership that refuses to understand the pain of its own people. He said, if you treat one part of the country unfairly, the whole nation will feel the wound. Obi said his vision for leadership is one that builds bridges, not walls. He said Nigeria has suffered too much because of pride and poor communication between the government and the governed. He said his dream is to lead a country where every region feels a sense of belonging. He reminded everyone that the true duty of government is not to fight its citizens, but to protect them. He said if dialogue had been used earlier, many of the tensions we see today would have been avoided. He said dialogue is not weakness, it is strength guided by wisdom. He went further to say that when people feel included, they protect the country more. But when they feel rejected, they withdraw their trust. He said trust is the foundation of any great nation, and once it is broken, rebuilding it takes years. That is why leaders must always choose peace over pride. He said the problem is not Nnamdi Kanu alone. It is about how the government responds to criticism and dissent. A confident government, he said, does not fear dialogue. It welcomes it. Because through dialogue, new ideas are born and better solutions come to life. Obi said the country must now learn from its mistakes and begin to prioritize peace built on understanding. He said the release of Nnamdi Kanu would not just be about one man, but about healing the wounds of a region that feels ignored. He said, if we want a united Nigeria, then we must make everyone feel they belong. Justice is the foundation of peace. He continued by saying that the best way to secure a nation is to give every citizen a reason to believe in it. He said Nigeria's diversity should be a blessing, not a curse, and that unity will only stand when fairness becomes the rule, not the exception. He said leaders must stop using fear and power to govern and start using empathy and truth. As he spoke those words, he tied it all back to his 2027 vision, a new kind of leadership that listens, unites, and heals. He said a true leader must not only talk about development, but also about reconciliation, because no nation grows in division and no people prosper in hate. He said a good leader must be brave enough to face uncomfortable truths. He said silence in the face of injustice is not peace, it is weakness. Obi believes that the road to a better Nigeria begins when leaders start telling the truth and doing what is right, even when it is not popular. Peter Obi's message was clear and sincere. Nigeria can rise again, but it must start by listening to its own people. His calm, steady voice carried the weight of someone who still believes that peace is possible if truth and fairness lead the way. His words were not just political statements. They were a call for conscience, a reminder that leadership must begin with humanity.